more demanding than I would have imagined. And it's a better learning curve than you could ever participate in anywhere else, because everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and everything that needed to be done had to be done in a timely and efficient way.
It took Evergreen some confidence. I think at the beginning, when people come in and started to do a little bit with us, like, hey, that's a, you guys can't afford that, and really what you want is, is a dance hall, because that'll drive people. And we'd sort of sit there sometimes in stunned silence and go, do we want a dance hall? Maybe we do. And then we go back to the office and say, no, that's not what, so for Evergreen to develop its confidence and sort of say, no, this is, we didn't say dance hall, we said native plant nursery. And even though it's not going to make us $1 million, it's because that's what we need to do.
We probably should have trusted our instincts more, but didn't because we were inexperienced. A lot of the decisions that we arrived at towards the end of the planning and design process were decisions that we felt pretty good about at the outset. If we had been more experienced developers, we would have gone with our instincts much earlier on, but we didn't, and so we explored a lot, and this was perhaps a little costly.
We do need to get better at making critical decisions quickly. I think we've learned a lot through this process because we've been forced to make big decisions, and some of the decisions we made too slowly. I look back at decisions around the original concepts and plans for the buildings. We could have moved a little faster in the design direction and saved ourselves probably a couple $100,000 in the process. In the end, it was a learning moment, so it was worthwhile because we learned in that process. Was it $200,000 worth of learning? I don't know.
The issue in my world is if you can avoid change, then you can be efficient and you can do things in an expeditious, cost-effective way. So once you've decided something and you've had the documents prepared and you've allowed that opportunity into the construction marketplace, just do what's on the drawings.
I think in terms of the types of spaces that we created, it was almost accidental that the spaces are as flexible as they are and will be in the future. And a lot of it had to do with our own decision making, our own inability to make some critical decisions this way or that way. And that indecision had its advantages in that we said, okay, well, let's, in this space, create a small rectangular room, and yes, it can be used as a classroom, but it can also be used as 2 or 3 other things in the future.
We developed an attitude of what we called light touch, loose fit, which meant that given the way that program ideas were shifting, we realized that they would in fact continue to shift even after we were all gone, after the construction was gone, and as Evergreen and its partners started to inhabit the site. So we were very conscious of the strategy of not not shrink-wrapping design solutions, but creating buildings that were highly adaptable.
When I come down here after all these years and we're built and we're open, I think the things that I like about it are actually the things that are the heritage features. So the things that we didn't change, they're the things that make the site unique.
Learning to not touch things was our hardest thing. Learning that some things just the way they are perfectly fine, and don't over construct it for the sake of what architects want or what designers want.
If I were to do it all over again, I would have spent more on winterized spaces. I would have put more thought into how we'll use the space in the winter, because a lot of the site is very usable in the spring, summer, and fall, and not quite so usable on a cold February afternoon.
I'm a little bit disappointed we haven't developed a more comprehensive relationship with art on site. Ferruccio Sardella, as an artist, I really hoped his signature and his art would be everywhere across the site, this really playful expression of art being a way to convey messages. He's here now, but not as elaborately as I had originally hoped. So I'd like to see that develop further.
If I could be negative, I would say that the notion of building a big new building, if it were mine to do over again, I probably wouldn't do. Jane Jacobs always talked about new ideas needing old buildings. And this is a very cool new building, and it's been done very sensitively, sitting on the foundations and components of an old building. But it's a very expensive intervention, if I can call it that.
If anything, we probably had loftier ambitions that we were able to actually bring forward, but all the potential is still here, and Evergreen isn't going anywhere. So, you know, the next round can actually bring, you know, a lot of that forward. So I don't have any disappointments, and I don't think I would suggest that you're going to try and do something different, because it's an evolutionary process. You know, it's not done.
Right now, it seems to be more a community center plus would be what you'd say. I don't know what it is eventually. It's like the center of Toronto. Well, what is the center? What does it bring? We'll bring everybody down here all the time. It's part of the market, it's part of the rink, it's part of the... But it's how many more things? There's probably another 10 things. I don't know what it will be. That's what's exciting. You know, we're going to discover what it will be.
I can see sunrise sneaking above the canyon, feeling my heart with happiness. Though my horse not lonely, that's the start of life's journey. Even when things are looking down,